Hello again. I've written at length about the suffragettes before now, both in books and newspapers, as well as being interviewed on the wireless about the subject. In the description to this video, I give a link to a piece I published the other day on Substack about the actions of the suffragettes. It is, of course, free to read. One of the strangest things about the suffragettes, led by Emmeline Pankhurst and her daughter Christabel, is the fact that they had no interest at all in seeing working class women get the vote. They were middle class activists and were quite content for the working classes not to have votes, as long as those who were property owners or university graduates like them would be able to vote. They were not in any sense a left-wing organisation and had no interest in what we now think of as being a basic feature of democracy. That is to say, every adult having the right to vote in parliamentary elections. This sounds so unlikely that I've used as a thumbnail to this video the standard document which set out the details of what the Pankhursts and their supporters stood for. The Women's Social and Political Union, the official name of the suffragettes, began by stating plainly that the Women's Social and Political Union are not asking for a vote for every woman. The word not is printed in capital letters, so there can be no ambiguity about it. The text goes on to mention that men had the right to vote if they fulfilled certain property qualifications or had been educated at university. At this time, years before the beginning of the Second World War, 40% of men in Britain, that's almost half, were not entitled to vote, either in parliamentary or local elections. Women, however, were entitled to vote in local elections for county councils and so on, and in fact Emmeline Pankhurst had the vote in local elections, while men living in the same street did not, because they were working men and didn't qualify. The suffragettes were a middle-class group who wished only to extend the vote to those belonging to their own class. They didn't care at all if working class people, men or women, were given the vote. That's not what they were fighting for at all. There were those campaigning for the universal franchise at that time, that is to say the right of all adults to vote in parliamentary elections, but the suffragettes had no interest at all in this idea, which, as I said, we now regard as an essential democratic right. This is because they weren't really interested in democracy. It's amusing to think about some of the actions which were taken by the suffragettes and just to consider how they would be viewed today. For example, on June 11th, 1914, a bomb exploded in Westminster Abbey while it was full of tourists. The following month, a bomb was detonated at Roslin Chapel in Scotland. The chapel famous from the Da Vinci Code, I'm sure some viewers will know. And then on August the 1st that same year, a bomb went off at Lisbon's Christchurch Cathedral in what is now Northern Ireland. These were all the work of Emmeline Pankhurst's suffragettes. It's strange how kind history has been to the suffragettes after all this. They now have the reputation as being people that fought valiantly for the right for all women to be able to vote, but that's not at all what they were after.